What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're going to be talking about the XRP price chart as the price sits here at just about 60 cents as I'm recording this morning, waddling between this range of 64 cents and 54 cents for the last 9 days, with everybody on their toes of, are we getting ready to go in for a full-fledged breakout? Now, if you caught the video I put out this week, I came up with a theory of how I could imagine this market playing out in regards to narratives, price action, retail sentiment, and cyclical timing of how this market has behaved historically. One factor we're still, of course, waiting on is to see whether or not the Russell is going to be able to escape, to see if this is a rotational market happening with big tech selling off, money shifting over there into mid caps and small caps, which has historically been the catalyst for risk on and for money to flow into the cryptocurrency market. Next week's going to be a big week in regards to narratives, especially for retail investors, because on Wednesday we have the FOMC meeting. There's a 93% probability that the Fed will not be cutting on Wednesday. However, the market has priced in a 100% probability that we will be cutting on September 18th. So the question is, will Jerome Powell signal that in the meeting next Wednesday? Does that create a frenzy that lasts for about 50 days from that point, getting mid caps to break out, and then, of course, crypto going along with it? All those factors are still in play, and those are really things that we're still waiting on, at least for me, in regards for me to kind of be like, imminent breakout around the corner, surge incoming. We need to see some evidence. We need to see some evidence over here first. But there are a lot of interesting things happening here on the XRP price chart that we can talk about. One thing we know is that obviously we've been in this long consolidation here, really the exact same amount of time as we were from 2013 until the kickstarting of 2016 and 2017. Really just a couple of days away from it being the exact same amount of time. What's also been really interesting about this price action and just waddling throughout here is one of those things we've talked about is like expecting volatility to show up, that usually we see A, B, C corrections show up in here. Obviously, XRP has somehow held itself up. Still not ruling out that it could definitely do that. But one thing that's been fascinating is that the market has kind of already done it. We could see that sprinkled all throughout the market. And for example, here's Cardano, right? XRP puts in that peak over there Wednesday, Thursday of last week. Here it is, Wednesday of last week for Cardano. And we already see that we've done like an ABC style structure over here for Cardano. Yet XRP was able to hold up much stronger than that and not really do that. We can kind of just jump between various assets throughout the market to see that they've ABC'd. Yet somehow XRP's still been able to hold itself up in here during that whole time. Now, I've spent a lot of time playing in this chart, dissecting this thing on small time frames, going back and reliving that moment from back in 2017 when the price did actually start to take off. We had a couple of different price structures that happened in here before the price ended up getting moving. This one was more of an ABC happening in here. But then we start having somewhat of an ascending triangle happening in here where the price does slam up high and then just kind of tightens up in here before it's able to get its way out in a triangle. And well, what's been interesting so far is it has kind of resembled that. Big slam up and then just kind of tightening up in here as we did back there. Again, I don't think that happens unless we can get something like that to occur. However, you look at these things and you say to yourself, well, like, are you on the brink of that happening? Do you have elements lining up for something like that to happen? We've all made the mistakes of just looking at fractals and saying, is it going to play out like this? Because the fractal says it's time to do it. You kind of look to the other conditions in the market to say, are you like lining up for something like that to happen? And well, for something like that, what would you need to see? You'd need to see liquidity flows, risk on, moving into mid caps, small caps, and we're kind of right there at the same time, right? And of course, you could see the Russell up there pushing up against that as well. And so I think that's really more of our deciding factor to see us get out of there. But it is also something similar that we saw back in there. My thoughts really have been that we would see more of an ABC style happen in here. However, the interesting thing is that we've actually kind of already seen it in the market. And so that throws a little bit of a loop into it because, hey, what we've kind of already done that here and we've held up pretty strong. Maybe there's a curveball coming. Maybe that's what ends up getting it to do it. But it has been remarkable to see the price hold up so well when the rest of the market has really kind of gone on to do just that. So I don't know if we're getting tricked here, if there's just going to be a late bloomer to go on and do it. but it's definitely holding up very strong when the rest of the market has kind of already done that. Really kind of testing that area down there, which for XRP is way down there at 48 cents. But again, structurally, it's somehow holding up very strong. And I think if the Russell goes on for full-blown breakout, I think probably ruling that out would be the next step. Now, one of the things I've talked about for forever is that XRP does not act independently. There is no flip the switch or secrets upon secrets. The price has moved with the market. It has always done that. So, of course, we can just look at the price chart. We can look at fractals. We can look at price behavior. We can look at the Russell. But the reality is this thing is going to likely move with the rest of the market if the rest of the market is going to move too. Now, things that we learned back in 2021, which made the market very different from 2017, is that only 20% of the altcoins ended up doing anything significant. I have to kind of go into all of this thinking in that manner that you have like a 1 out of 5 chance on what you're going to get if it ends up doing anything meaningful. That's why over this last year, there's been so much focus on developer activity, user activity levels, percentage drawdown, circulating supply inflation, trying to find all those similarities of what increased those odds from 1 out of 5 to like 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5. So in the event that the Russell does break out and we do see the altcoins get moving, my thoughts are not that we're going to see everything go on a majestic bull run, because that's just not what this market has been now. My thoughts are that XRP will be one of them, but definitely not everything. Some things will bounce back, they'll get retracements, but whether they do anything significant is the million-dollar question. So to try to find additional confluence throughout the market, I've been trying to look and see, are there other coins that have setups that would suggest something similar to this? Is XRP just acting alone? Is it the only one that's making itself look like that? Or can we find confluence? Now, before I show you these next couple of charts, I'm not advocating for you to buy them. I think we all know I'm a big proponent for privacy coins. Privacy coins have not in particular performed very well over the last several years, but I have voiced my opinions on it tremendously that if there is going to be any type of peer-to-peer cash, I personally believe a privacy feature is mandatory. That is why Bitcoin has lost its whole peer-to-peer narrative and gone with the store of value, hedge against inflation narrative, because nobody uses it as an actual currency. And the reality is, if you were swiping your credit card at every retailer, and if every retailer could see your actual balance, where your past transactions were at, what you're spending your money on, who you're spending your money with, you probably would just be using cash, so that way they couldn't track you. But you enjoy that privacy right now. When you do swipe your credit card, that retailers, criminals, neighbors, everybody can't see what you're spending your money on. So that'll be the end of my rant on privacy, that I personally find that if there is going to be a cryptocurrency that is ever used as an actual currency for peer-to-peer transactions, it would require a privacy feature. Now that that rant is done, I'm not advocating for you to go buy privacy coins because they've performed poorly. However, I buy them. But don't buy them just because of that. But this does tie back to XRP, so be patient if you're kind of like, wait a minute, I came here for XRP. Just hold on. One of the charts that we have looked at in Markets in the Morning and past videos has been the Monero price chart over here and how it is done. It actually even made it into the list of one of the most shallow drawdowns during 2022. During the 2021 bull run, that was actually a criteria that performed the best, is if there was demand scooping up an asset, preventing it from going into a monstrous bear market. Now, the thing about Monero is it's really been stuck in this range right in here for the last 2+ years. Now we're continuously looking at XRP down in here to say, hey, are we kind of reaching that moment where this thing can get going, which would also indicate that other things in the market would be moving at the same time. But all of this price action right here, of course, is taken from back in 2014, 15, 16, and 17, which was the market cap of XRP all throughout here. Now, notice that the market cap looks slightly different than what the actual price chart does, and that all of this consolidation taking place in here is actually happening from a higher level, as there was a big increase in supply back then in 2014. But notice how the market cap rises and then goes into a long consolidation much higher, and that this is actually an 83-84% drawdown happening in here with this long range taking place. Head on over here to Monero. What do you have? New high over here for the market cap, 80% drawdown and long consolidation. And really, if you take a look at this consolidation that is happening here and this structure, you will notice it's nearly identical to what's going on in here, where all these phases play out together into a longer Wyckoff for both to then go on into a spring phase, which would indicate Monero being somewhere in there right now, as spring has already happened, just like we saw for XRP back in 2016 and 17. So again, this is not to be like everybody run and buy Monero, but it's supplemental confluence to the XRP price chart and the other things that we're talking about. That XRP doesn't move by itself. It moves with the market. Do we find other things in the market that look incredibly similar to what happens prior to periods of prices taking off? Well, we can see it right here. In addition to the other dynamics that we talked about in the video earlier this week, another fascinating dynamic showing up is Zcash. Yes, I still hold my Zcash. But even looking at it on the monthly time frame, starting to see it start to wake up in here after holding that 40 for the monthly RSI, along with stochastic monthly waking up. You've got the MACD starting to curl its way up in here. And then a decent sized monthly candle starting to wake up that the breakout level really sits up here at about $35. But that there's even a dynamic waking up over here in these assets. I may be a little biased on Zcash because I'm a bag holder who's down bad. But I don't think I'm missing the mark here with what I see over here on Monero. And just structurally, outside of being like RSI, stochastic RSI on monthly timeframes, just structurally, this thing's at that exact same point of what we're talking about for XRP, which adds that confluence of, hey, is this thing at the end of accumulation? If it's about to start moving, are we going to see the rest of the market move? Because these things just don't go together. They just don't go independently. They always go together. And so if we're even going to be looking at price behavior like this for XRP, it's of course still even more important to say, does the context make any sense, right? We know we've got this thing showing up in here back in 2014 that didn't happen here in 2022 or 23. But just to kind of like be like, well, should we still be down in here? And you just kind of look at it from a timing perspective in here, where was Bitcoin when this happened? Notice that it kind of peaks out right in here, right before capitulation for Bitcoin happens back in 2015. That XRP does still fall with the capitulation move of Bitcoin right in here, right? This moment would have been right before capitulation, which we could see capitulation comes in here. We just showed that. Here's that peak, and then here comes Bitcoin's capitulation. That's also here what does happen here in 2022. That is when Bitcoin then goes on into capitulation. And we know this is the capitulation. Yes, there's the FTX low, but we've beaten this with a stick. That even XRP's bottom is right here. That's the bottom of XRP. That's the bottom of Ethereum. It's the bottom of Binance Coin, Tron. It's even the bottom of Monero that we're talking about there in June of 2022. That is our capitulation point. So these timings even align with where we would be for price action to be aligned up for right now based on these things occurring. But it's one thing to just even do all that, right? We can sit there and we look at the Russell, we can look at all those things. I mean, all those things just build up a ton of confluence. But then you try to look to the rest of the market, reminding yourself that this doesn't happen as an independent, isolated event. It is always running together. And is it appropriate to even be looking at that at all? And that's where we come into the stuff with Monero to say, look, it's actually doing the exact same thing too. That was what was occurring there. That is what is occurring here right now. Is it appropriate to be looking at it through this lens? And it seems like it is appropriate to be looking at it through this lens. Especially if that gets out, if the Russell does break out, because that's been our catalyst for every cycle. So it seems like the market conditions are lining up. We still need that big break to happen to get the YOLO kicked off. Definitely uncertain on how this is going to play itself out. If that sea leg is still going to come like the rest of the market has, or if it's just going to keep tightening up in here to go for a break with the Russell. I also know we're supposed to be getting near the end of the Ripple Remedies decision, which is supposed to be coming out here like maybe within a week. I don't know how that's going to go. I don't know how the market's going to react. I don't know if Ripple's going to get slapped with a $500 million fine and people are going to panic and that gives us our sea leg. I don't know if they're going to settle, if that's going to send the thing catalyzing. No clue on how that thing is going to end, but I don't think the short-term price action of what is happening here in this very moment right now is the big story. I think the big story is this, and that we have the alignment in the rest of the market also happening at the same time. And again, going back to these discussions right here, are we about to see retail euphoria with the Jerome Powell money printer memes as retail says we are just starting? But I think from the grand picture of it all, is it a point within the cycle where hopes could be pretty high? I think it's an appropriate place to be that way. Outside of the last 2 weeks, over the last 8 months, I've only made 3 XRP dedicated videos. But now in the last 2 weeks, I've made 3 XRP dedicated videos. So the same amount over 8 months over the course of 2 weeks, because it seems like a very interesting time for it. Not only because it's an interesting time for XRP, but it seems like an interesting time for other aspects of the market as well. Again, do not go run and buy this thing just because I've shown you the chart. Privacy coins have been under attack. Even Binance delisted the privacy coins back on June 1st. The government does not want you having privacy. I don't know if there's going to be more attacks that happen to other exchanges. That risk exists there. For me, the true rebel of private cash and cryptocurrency cash doesn't happen with Bitcoin. For me, that's more with privacy coins. That's just my personal take. Back in my day, they used to say Bitcoin was FU money. Not anymore. No one uses it as money. It's Hopium, ETF, BlackRock stuff now. For me, this is the FU money. But with that also comes those risks. This chart is merely being used as supplemental confluence to the rest of the market and to say, is it appropriate to be looking at it through that context? And to show that we do see similar price behavior happening in other aspects of the market at the same time. So we'll be keeping a close eye on this. There will be more videos on XRP. It has my full attention right now. I do spend a couple hours every day now staring at this chart. It is not on the back burner of boredom. It is now front and center, right behind this guy. In the event that XRP does go on a bull run, I'm sure everybody's wondering, what prices are you looking at? What are you thinking about? Everything is still the same. So that $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 area. One thing we've talked about a whole lot is that it has always seemed that if it does go on a huge bull run, really that main resistance for it has tended to be whatever Ethereum's market cap is. So we've theorized this over the years on whether it would be the catch up during Ethereum's retracement that XRP ends up doing it. Well, Ethereum has just been kind of stuck here in its retracement for quite some time now. If the market cap of XRP were to actually catch up to it right now, it's a little bit over a 1,000% rise. Now, if Ethereum goes a little bit higher and it happens up here at higher, I mean, you could be as high as 1,400%, right? That still comes with those confluences of around those prices of 7, 8, 9, $10, which, like we've talked about with the market cap of XRP, would be about a 1,400 to 1,500% price rise from where it currently is right now, as high as I could imagine it. That price right now is right there, a little bit over $9, like $9.40 or something like that, depending on how long it takes. That's kind of like the Hopium highest place I'm looking for. In the event that if we do actually get a full-blown breakout going, it hits the 4.236 extension of the market cap and catches the Ethereum market cap really at the same time, maybe, unless if Ethereum just kind of shoots off and continues going. But that's really what my ideas are right now, with this just sitting at 60 cents, right? What would it be like if we got into majestic land? Where would the price be? Nothing's changed. It's still that same area, pretty close to $10. But again, like I keep pointing to before even getting into that fantasizing and dreaming of Lambos, this evidence has to present itself first, where we do see risk-on environment coming over here for mid and small caps. So good luck out there, and hopefully we are on the verge of the ride of our lifetimes. So, all right, that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope that you have an absolutely wonderful weekend. If you'd like to catch up on some of the research that we've done over here in the newsletter, you can check it out at blockchainbacker.substack.com. There's over 40 newsletters here. I personally voice record all of them. There's a lot of research in here. Of course, I do have my website over here, bcbacker.com, with over 40 videos and 11 hours of content teaching you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro, teaching you about the historical behavior of the cryptocurrency market. There are links in the description of this video to bcbacker.com and to the newsletter at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Otherwise, have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.